I want to show our viewers a bit of a lengthy post today from Donald Trump, who said, "Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong as you conspire against the United States of America." Now, it was a pretty tough post. What do you make of that, and what stood out for you from President Xi's speech?
Well, Peter, this is a very disagreeable conclusion for me to reach, but I write about it at length in tomorrow's paper. This was a tremendous victory for Xi and a tremendous defeat for Trump. Only a genius as crazy as Trump could lose India to China. Now, Narendra Modi didn't stay for the military parade, but he attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting and palled it up with Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. Why did he do that? Because Trump insanely has imposed a 50% punitive tariff on India for trading with Russia, while it imposes no similar penalty on China and has imposed no extra penalty on Putin after Trump had his love-in with him in Alaska. So there's a chaos and madness to Trump policy, which Xi Jinping has capitalised on brilliantly. He had a whole swag of leaders from Southeast Asia there, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, the President of Vietnam, the Prime Minister of South Korea, and this is a definitive loss for the West. I mean, we've got to face reality here. We've lost the argument with the Global South about the idea that the Russian aggression in Ukraine had to be universally condemned and properly resisted, because China is flouting that all, and with Iran and North Korea, it's directly supporting the Russian war effort, and Xi Jinping can turn out a tremendous retinue of national leaders from all over the Global South, much more than Donald Trump could turn out for his military parade in Washington. I think this is a very bad day for the West, a very good day for communist dictatorship.
The Chinese official state media made a lot of a large-scale government delegation attending these events. Of course, our ambassador found himself thousands of kilometres away and unable to attend, quote unquote, on the day. But we saw Daniel Andrews there. He had quite a lengthy exchange with President Xi, more so than other leaders who were coming in around him. Now, we know since he's left politics, he's making a lot of money out of China, and he certainly had a pretty dubious history with the Belt and Road Initiative. I might add too, when he was Premier, he went there for a 5 or 7 day visit and refused to allow the media to cover that visit. But what did you make of his attendance today?
Well, look, I think he's a nobody, really. You know, he's almost not worth worrying about. I mean, this would be very good for his career as a consultant with Chinese companies. You know, when I was a correspondent in China, through some sort of miracle of happenstance, I appeared on the TV for a second with Hu Yaobang, the General Secretary of the Communist Party at the time. And the service in my hotel went from 0 to hero in 1 second. So this will be very good for Daniel Andrews. But
yeah, but Greg, he's got the ear of the Prime Minister. Hang on, he's got the ear of the Prime Minister, and we know in the election campaign there were stories written about how influential he was on the campaign trail. The claim was that he had prepared and briefed the Prime Minister for his debates with Peter Dutton. So he's in Labor's inner sanctum.
Oh, absolutely. However, I would say to you, honestly, I think the Albanese government has handled this quite okay. It's sensible to send a diplomat there. That's quite right. All of our partners in Southeast Asia have done so, and all of the democratic allies like South Korea and so on. But they haven't even sent the ambassador. So if anything, that's a mild snub to Beijing, a bit more than I would have expected of the Albanese government. It's also fair enough that they don't poke the bear particularly by, I mean, this is a parade celebrating a military victory. It's not a parade celebrating the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, I'm very, very unhappy about it. I think it's a terrible day for the West.
You're splitting hairs there, Greg. You're splitting hairs.
Oh no, they're entitled to celebrate the war against Imperial Japan. That's quite okay. I mean, that's true. We were allies of China at that time, but But I think it's a horrible thing, the way they've done, the gargantuan nature of this military parade. It's quite totalitarian and horrible. It's legitimised a bit because Trump ran his own ridiculous military parade in Washington a little while ago. I think this represents a tremendous failure of Western diplomacy at every level. And the first people we should be, we should be looking at the beam in our own eye. All those Southeast Asian nations being there, and India and South Korea and so on, they wouldn't be there if we had a reliable American president who was running a coherent policy and attending to them. Instead of which, they've all been hit by punitive tariffs out of the great power of the West, which is meant to be their friend and their security safeguard. So I think it's just a truly horrible day. I agree with you. I think Daniel Andrews is a terrible influence on the Labor Party, but I'm not going to blame the Chinese for that. I think he's a terrible influence on the Labor Party all of his own. And the Labor Party has also been very effective at courting ethnic Chinese voters. And the Liberals today making remarks about Indian immigration, having lost the whole cohort of ethnic Chinese, they're now determined to lose the whole cohort of ethnic Indians. Perhaps they can go one by one through the whole of Australia and lose every single vote in the whole country.
We'll leave it there. Greg, thank you.